Public Works meeting of Monday, March 1st to order. Number 2, approval of minutes from February 15th. Motion by Mr. Fire, second by Mr. Rosendich. Comments, corrections? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I see no citizens, so we'll move on to number 4, approval of truck purchase for the plumbing inspector, presented by Sam Warp, wastewater superintendent. Sam.
Thank you, Tom. In your packet, I wrote up a memo about the plumbing inspector's vehicle. The current vehicle we have is a 2018 Pontiac Torrent. Pretty well used. We bought it used back in 2013. I listed the significant items that are wrong with it right now. We know we want to replace it, and that's how come we haven't been spending much money to fix some of the items. They are pretty major items. Been staying in close contact with Pat Zepp from the police department on the vehicles, and because they took some out of the budget, there's not as many available this year. In fact, all they have left coming up is sometime this summer, late summer maybe, is a 2014 Chevy Tahoe. It's a 2-wheel drive SUV type vehicle. It really doesn't work for the plumbing inspector. The 2-wheel drive wouldn't be good, and he has the SUV now, and he has difficulty carrying his survey poles and his GPS marking poles. So we really want to go to a pickup to make it a little bit handier for him. He would like to have a smaller pickup if he had a choice, just because in smaller spaces. When you go on the state bid and you look at the vehicles, the Chevrolet was the least expensive of the small pickups. So we went from there. We went to Wheeler Chevrolet and told them what we wanted. And they actually beat the state bid by $87. And then when they actually threw in some other things like the documentation change and registration plates and that, they actually are $525 under the state bid for a Chevy Colorado pickup. The very basic pickup, vinyl seats, vinyl floor mats. We added things like another key, so we can have that spray and bed liner. The basic pickup does not even have cruise control, so we added that. We added InSync for his phone to connect, so he can do hands-free that way. Otherwise, it's really just your basic pickup, basic white color as well. I guess I should back up too, is wastewater and development services split the plumbing inspector costs. We split the wages right down the middle, and then wastewater takes care of his vehicle, and development services takes care of the other things, the computer, the office equipment, the cell phones, clothing allowance, and things like that. So, anyway, getting back to the vehicle. So we talked with Wheelers, came up with what we thought was a fair deal. Came up to $29,825 for a 2022 4-door Chevy Colorado. And I would recommend accepting a bid from Wheeler Chevrolet for that.
Could I entertain a motion, please? Motion by Mr. Bargander. Second by Mr. Fisher. Questions? Mr. Bargander.
The quote is for a 2022. I mean, it's only 2021, a month, 2 months, 3 months into it. Why is it 2022?
That is a typo. It should be 2021.
Okay. And just for clarification for the public, when you started your presentation, you mentioned that the Torrent was a 2018, which it is a 2008, so it is quite old. And I understand we don't want to put any more money into that at all. So, yeah, that's just a couple of things I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Dan?
I just wanted to mention a little side note here that we do have our eye on that PD Tahoe that's going to become available this sometime this summer for another public works use. So we're still following along on that same strategy of trying to use those when it makes sense.
Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sam.
2 missed quotes and I still got it.
Number 5, approval of consultant selection for the Lincoln Avenue reconstruction project, 5th Street to Adler Road, presented by Dan Connect, Director of Public Works. Dan.
Thank you. You'll recall that back in December, this board approved a request for proposals for engineering services on this project. This project was selected to receive federal funding for construction through the STP Urban Surface Transportation Program, urban designation, and that's designed and constructed through the WISDOT or DOT development, project development process. It's a little more complicated and more report writing and environmental documentation and so forth than what we do for our local projects. So we've typically gotten outside consultant services to complete these types of projects. We requested proposals from 4 firms, but only 3 responded. And those were Ayers Associates out of Eau Claire, Bremer Associates out of Stevens Point, and then MSA out of the Marshfield office here. I'll mention that the design is being funded 100% locally. The construction is 80% federal funds, 20% local. So in our process to select consultants, we asked for proposals in 2 different parts. First is the written proposal, the technical side, and that's in one package. And then we asked for their cost for services in a separate package. So staff reviews the technical proposal first, and we rank our consultants in that way. And then we open up the cost proposals and see how the costs shake out. So after our review of the technical proposals, we narrowed it down to the top 2, which were Bremer and MSA. Then we looked at the cost proposals, and you'll note that there was quite a difference in the cost between Bremer and MSA. And sometimes that can be a red flag if you see that big of a difference there. So we kind of digested that one a little bit further. I talked to Bremer on Friday and asked what was maybe different that would have led to their pricing being that much lower. I said, well, it's a fairly simple project, straightforward on Lincoln. They felt they can do the work for the price that they've quoted. Pretty confident in their schedule that they can deliver the project. So with that, we are recommending Bremer. I also checked some of the references. They've done quite a bit of work in Stevens Point. And I'm missing the second one. Oh, Mosinee as well. I talked to both of those public works directors on Friday. Both have been very satisfied with their work. They both have indicated that Bremer tends to be on the lower side of the cost, and so that wasn't surprising to them. Bremer is a much smaller operation than the other 2, with lower overhead and so forth. So bottom line is we're comfortable recommending Bremer for this project, and the lower cost certainly helps out the budget. So with that, I'd recommend approval of the proposal from Bremer Associates, Stevens Point, and authorize execution of it.
I have a motion by Mr. Fisher, second by Mr. Fire. Comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dan. Number 6, plan review and approval to seek bids for 2021 sanitary sewer projects, presented by Tom Turchie, City Engineer. Tom.
All right, for advertising and bidding, we're looking at preparing the ad for bid the week of March 19th and starting to advertise March 27th and April 3rd. Plan to have final plans and specs online on March 26th, with bids being received around April 12th at 4 o'clock. We'll be bringing that back to the Board of Public Works on April 19th for the approval of the lowest bidder, and then to the Common Council to move it on for contract. We anticipate the start of construction around May 10th of this year. Special assessments are underway. We are looking at creating the paperwork for special assessments later this week, early next week. And then mailing special assessments hopefully in the next couple weeks to try to get some information out to the residents. We may postpone that just a little bit due to we're waiting for some asphalt information, because that helps us get much closer when we do the estimated special assessments for these projects. And I'll quickly go through the various projects. First one was Blodgett Street, Wood Avenue to St. Joseph's Avenue. In this project, what we're going to do is we're going to replace all the sanitary sewer laterals, because the sewer main is PVC already. We're going to fix a couple manholes on that street. And the water utility is going to replace all their main and sanitary or water services in this project. And then the contractor will reditch the entire project and we'll put a new surface on that. On the second project, which is Cedar Avenue, 6th Street to 8th Street, we are going to replace the sanitary sewer from 8th Street to 7th Street and replace sanitary sewer laterals. The water utility is going to follow suit and replace water services on this portion of this project. And then the street division will come in and finish up the gravel and the asphalt paving. East A Street, east and west of Maple Avenue, about 150 feet each direction. We're going to be replacing the sanitary sewer mains in this location, just removing the concrete that's necessary with our contract. Following that, the street department will remove the remaining concrete on this section and do a asphalt replacement project in this section of East A Street. Then finally, Lincoln Avenue. In this location, we're looking at upgrading the sanitary sewer main that runs along Lincoln Avenue from the lift station to Briarwood or Blodgett Street. This will be actually pipe bursting, where we actually burst the existing pipe. So it minimizes the trenches. This project, the current location of the sanitary sewer is right under the edge of the asphalt. So we don't want to disturb the asphalt when doing that. So all we'll have to do is do the manholes at those locations, at the connection locations at Blodgett, Briarwood, and then the one connection in between. So therefore we are planning to get those projects out for bid. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Tom? Okay, you're looking for a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Fire. Second, Mr. Bargender, was that you? Okay, any questions at all? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, number 7. Closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Chapter 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Motion to go to closed session. Mr. Rosendich, second by Mr. Bargender. Roll call, please.
Fisher.
Yes.
Fire. Rosendich.
Yes.
Bargender.
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes,
We
we are in closed session.